Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, we got a great show lined up for you. If you guys noticed, we did not have a show last Tuesday. I had to take the night off. It was my wife's birthday, so we had to go out and celebrate. But I am back tonight with a fantastic show. I tell you what, if you guys have not been doing so, there's a lot of stuff to keep track of in the UAP, UFO world. Like I said, a lot of new, we mentioned in some other episodes, a lot of new whistleblowers have popped up and made some pretty bold claims. There's a lot of news going around about something big happening in the UFO world. And they even gave us a date. They're even saying in the year 2027, something major is going to happen. I know you're thinking, that's forever a ways away. But, from what I hear, and this is as crazy as it sounds, alien craft is on its way to see us, a giant mothership. So let's hope, and let's hope they're probably taking hitchhikers, because I want to get out of here, okay? But anyways, guys, thank you guys for popping on. Sorry we weren't here last week, but we are back this week with a fantastic guest. But before we get to our amazing guest this evening, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Now, it's time to bring up the person. I've missed this guy. He reminded me that it's not just been a week, but it's been 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. So it's Mr. Behind the Scenes, Too Nice to Be Mean, everybody's favorite tech guy, Chris Green. So where are you at? There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Green. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. So, okay, you reminded me it's been 2 weeks. So how's it been? What has happened in Mr. Chris Green's life the past 2 weeks?
Well, past 2 weeks I've been going to native drumming, and I actually I've been visited.
Oh,
I've been visited.
So here's the thing. Okay, so you've done the native drumming. Is this something that was this Native American related?
Yes, it's culture related for
culture related.
Yeah, natives. Yes.
So tell us about it. Let's hear it.
So I've been doing it for a while, and I went to a feast to feast the drum, and I was, I got into singing and stuff like that, so I know some of the songs. And my old elder, she passed away about 2 years ago, and I have this little teepee with a wolf on it that was given to me by her. And I was sleeping on the couch, minding my own business, and she comes out of the teepee. So it's like Indian in the cupboard, right? So it really freaked me out, and all she did was give me the thumbs up, turn around, and walk back in.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if it's, hey, you were called to that, and I'm glad you're in there. I don't know.
Wow.
But
And
that's been my 2 weeks. She's actually done that about 4 times in the last 2 weeks.
so it's an ongoing thing then. Do you
Yeah.
think you're trying to be told a message or something, or?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Because I just, wake up suddenly and she walks out. It's not, I want to talk to you. It's, I don't know.
Well, that is interesting, Chris. I got to say, wow, man. I think I probably need to go, more weeks without speaking to you. There we well, and everything else going good there in good old Canada?
Yes, it is. I'm getting ready for snow again.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay. I'm about to say, what? No way.
No, not yet.
Okay, well, call me Gullible Dan. Oh, gullible. Stupid American me. Will you believe anything? Well, good deal, man. Well, that's interesting, and you're going to have to monitor that and keep us up to date, and see, next week if something happens between now and next Tuesday. So
I will let you know.
That is cool. Well, I'll tell you what. All right. Well, we're going to get moving right along. We're going to get our guest here, and Chris, you have done well. You have served your time, but it's time for you to go poof, my friend. All right. Guys, that's a crazy story from Chris. I don't know. So we're gonna keep up with this. So maybe if he's said what 3 times. So we're gonna keep up with this and see what happens next week. See if he has any updates for us next week on that. But I tell you what, I want to get moved right up to tonight's guest. She happens to be actually an old friend of mine. We have done comedy shows together. She's hilarious, and I can't stress the fact that there's probably nobody that has so more good vibe, energy, aura around them than this person. She's got a fantastic podcast that you can go check out. So much Genergy, and Genergy, it is the perfect word to describe her, because that's how she's been. But she, not only she's a comedian, like I said, a podcaster, and a medium, and I can't wait to talk to her, more about this topic tonight. So if you guys will, let's welcome tonight's guest, my good friend, comedian, podcaster, medium, Jenny McKinney.
Hey, everybody. Excited to be here. Good to see you, Toots.
I haven't heard that in forever. Well, I tell you what, if you don't mind, Jenny, because, like I said, we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
But, for the listeners and the viewers, do you care to introduce yourself just a little more in depth?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Jenny McKinney, originally from a place called my mom. She's, not close to here. Yeah, I've been doing comedy my whole life, and that's where we met, thank goodness. And then comedy kind of took off into just doing shows, and from open mics to doing opening for other comedians and doing my own shows. And then just being more interested in the spiritual realm. And then it just kind of I took some classes. I'm a lifelong learner, and found that I have abilities that were not tapped into that just like exploded open. And then all of a sudden I just could see and hear and know things. So but yeah, that's me. I'm originally from Michigan. That's why I sound like that. And where I'm in Tennessee, so I get asked a lot, "Are y'all from Canada?" Which I am not, but I know that Chris is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our viewers are from Canada as well. We get a lot of listeners from Canada, and
awesome.
I know we have some American listeners, but we get a lot from Canada.
Yeah, I love
and
it.
we love Canada.
Yeah.
And let me say this also. I've met a lot of people from Michigan. No offense, Michigan, but Jenny is the sweetest. I think she's the sweetest person by far from the state of Michigan.
I do get that a lot. They're like, "Are you sure you're from there?" We've
Yeah, I
met
was like, "Are
people
you
from there."
sure?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
too nice."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've come to find out that's actually a compliment here in Tennessee, because when they asked if I was from Canada, it's a compliment because Canadians were nice. And
Yeah,
that's why.
Canadians are nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. You get Ohio's cool. I'm like, Ohio, and then you get to Michigan and they're so mad. I don't know if they're mad or if they're
Well, I
just
think it's lack of vitamin D.
Yeah, I don't know what,
Yeah.
or it might
Lack
be
of sun.
it might be that they're more honest. They're too honest in Michigan. Because in Tennessee we lie.
Yeah.
Tennessee we lie. We don't talk about you till you leave the room. In Michigan they say it while you're staying. So I don't know.
They're gonna hurt your feelings.
Yeah. And in Canada, I'm assuming they're nice, but they could be Tennessee. They could be just like Tennessee and Canada.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, here's the one thing. You said this comment, and I 100% believe you. I agree with you. Is like I'm a lifelong learner as well. I've went through so many stages of the belief system in my life. To where full blown atheist to to being on the fence, and now I'm a full believer in the spiritual realm, spirituality. I always used to make fun of people who would say, "I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual," and I just like, that's just a cop out, for believing in garbage. But no, really, I use that term now. I tell people, I'm a spiritual person. I do believe in a consciousness, spiritual reality and it's real. It's very real. It exists. And I always used to question, because I know how to fake it all day. I can fake mind read or fake this and fake that, and it's part of entertainment, part of what I do. But it's just for show. Right. But there is the real stuff that actually really happens. There's and I think it's something that I think everybody has an ability, but there's more people that are more in touch with it and, a little better at it than others,
Yes. If you think about it, it's like our learning styles. So we all have different learning styles. Like some people are, visual, some are kinesthetic. It's the exact same thing. That's what your clair would be for hearing, seeing, knowing things from other outside of this.
Yes. Exactly. Well, I call it like the matter, the hard world, but then there's this other world.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we get so caught up in our daily lives here that we don't pay attention to the other world.
Right.
And that's so sad. And it kind of sucks too, because so many of us are forced to have to pay attention to this world, even though so many things don't matter.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
that's what I love too, is having, kind of like with your comedy and your magic, and then you can take it into any other like realm. You know what I mean? You can bring other things into your show to kind of expand like your audience awareness. Yeah. And that's what I love too, is being able to have comedy in mediumship, because everyone's like, oh, it's so sad, like you're grieving, and there's this terrible like depressive feeling when you think of mediumship, right? Because you're sad and you're going to talk to somebody about your past loved one. And I just got chills. So what my favorite part is so it's called a sitter, so somebody who would come in and kind of sit for the medium. So when the sitter comes in and is there for a reading, they want the essence of the person that is left, right? And that's something that I take in such an honor. It's such an honor to be able to connect with that person's loved one, because I can feel how sacred that relationship is, and I think that for so long, people like Miss Cleo or, TV, has kind of ruined how sacred that relationship and that connection can really be.
And that happens, and that's the sad thing, is that you do have the bad apples that ruin it, and people who don't. And this, and it's hard for me to explain this to people. It really is. And when I, because like both my parents have passed, and I just recently, my sister had passed. Thank you for the flowers, by the
Oh,
way.
you're welcome.
That was, wonderful. Thank you. But here's the thing, it's like I of course I do miss certain things. Like right off the bat, I thought about my sister today, and I miss her. But at the same time, it's not like a sad thing for me, because I know they're still around and they're still able to communicate with me. And so and whenever and it's not something that I walk around and like, it's not, I have faith that they're still around. No, I know.
Right.
There's just as well as I know you're on the other side of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This computer's here in front of me. This mic's in front of me. It's that I know.
Right.
And so people don't, and not until they've had that experience. I've had so many experiences that has proven to me, and so I always tell people, if they've lost a loved one, I like to tell them, in the most gentle way that I can, that they really, truly are still around you. All you have to do is pay attention.
And that's just it. I think sometimes when you're closed off, and you're closed off out of your own reason, it can be fear. It can be you've shut things off because of whatever when you were younger. Whatever your reason is, because you don't feel safe, any of those things. And when you close it off, you can reopen it at any time. That's the thing. And I just wanted to add too, because you brought up a great point about that, is because with mediumship, the main point is for people, like, are they okay? The main question is, are they okay? Are they happy? Did they make it? That's a big question. And they have all these preconceived notions of that they're still suffering or they aren't sure. And really what I have found is the sitter comes to me, a medium, for their own confirmation. When spirit comes in, and I do this because that's where the side that they come into me, it's so amazing to share the information with that person. And it's hard too, because if you have a medium who has an ego that needs to be validated and have their own person, so there are a lot of factors going into everything that we do, because if I'm reading from my own ego, I'm going to share information that I am trying to perceive, and I'm using all of my filters to give to you, which makes me try to figure things out, which is not fair to you. So for example, I was doing an energy healing session, which energy healing is, to explain it, it's like I leave my body. So I step outside of myself, and we go into this like sacred safe space. That's how it feels, like a black room. Like, did you see Stranger Things? I'm sure most people that have listened to this. So when 11 is in that dark spot and it's just her in the black, it's kind of like that. That's exactly what it looks like. But I can see you and I can see your energy. So if you agree, because you want to follow sacred ethics, right? You want to make sure the person agrees that you're working on and connecting with. And when I was connecting with that person, there was some energy in there, and all of a sudden they just tell me potatoes. I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I just hear the word potatoes and I put it in my notes, right? I don't have to figure that out. It's not for me to figure out. So I put potatoes in the notes. And then when I gave the notes to the person after, she's like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. My family's from Ireland and we have a potato farm and all this and this and this. But that's not for me to figure out, right?
Exactly.
So yeah.
You're just a messenger. You're just,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like in my energy sessions, I'm a spiritual note taker is how it feels, which is amazing, because I get to see these I would imagine that if people are on mind altering substances, this is what they would see. But I'm
Yeah.
not, and I'm lucky enough I get to see those things, you know.
You get to see them without eating the nasty mushrooms.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
The well, I mean, that's you know, that's cool, and you know, I you know, I've never had that type of, you know, communication that way, but a lot of times, you know, I'll ask for, you know, I'll verbally, you know, put it out there, because you know, I'm also a big fan of the manifestation,
Yeah.
vocalizing
Oh,
things,
100%.
saying it out,
Yeah.
and you know, I'll say, you know, mom, blah, 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 you know, and
Yeah.
then she'll pop up, and I mean, something will happen that only me and mom will totally connect on,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Same thing, you know, with my father, and then my sister, you know, I've got interesting, I tell this I've told this several times on this show, but 2 days after my sister passed, I had to do a show. And, of course I didn't really, you know, it was a tough one
Right.
to do.
Yeah.
And I uploaded a clip of the show on the TikTok, and and I was going to bed. I went to lay down, and I got a notification, and it was a notification from an account with no profile, no followers. The very first notification to like my post, and it was from an account called Pammy. And that was my sister's name was Pam, and her nickname was Pammy. And it was my sister letting
I
me
love
know,
that.
you
Yeah.
know. And I mean, that's why people don't. When I try to tell them, I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, all you have to do is pay attention.
Yeah.
Open your eyes, open your ears, open your mind.
Right.
Open your mind, you
Yeah.
know, quit thinking about the light bill, quit thinking about some
Right.
stupid deadline at your
Yeah.
job.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
There's I don't know where they go when they leave this reality, this tip, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I know they go somewhere,
Yeah.
and I know they're okay, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. You know, I try to imagine what the afterlife might be like, Jenny. You know, what in the heck? What are we gonna do? I don't
Oh
know.
my
I hope
gosh.
it's fun.
Yeah, let me share this with you real quick. So, my cousin and I were like soul sisters, and she passed, and I kept telling her, I knew she was around. I could feel her, and when I would go to mediumship circles, she was always the one to pop in, and that's who they always picked up on. So I knew she was around all the time. But it was interesting because I just asked one night, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing on the other side?" And then, so have you ever astral traveled?
I have not, but I am you know, I am familiar with it. Now,
Okay.
I don't want to say. I will say this one time. I had an out of body experience, and then I panicked.
Gotcha. Yes,
And then I
that can happen.
grabbed, because it was, I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest with you, Jenny, I mean, it's kind of like a trip, you know,
Yes.
it's kind of like, and so I felt myself losing, not being in control anymore.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, so I grabbed a hold of the safety net and snapped out of it. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So I would consider this like astral travel. So I leave my body and then, you know, I'm doing things at night. Well, all of a sudden I'm in this building and I know I'm not in a dream because it feels very different, but I'm walking down this hall and I can hear all this commotion like you're at a large corporation office building, right? And I come around the corner and there's a lady standing there and she looks at me and I said, "Oh my gosh, you know, like what's going on here?" And she starts talking to me. And then my cousin comes up from around the side of me with a clipboard. She's got her glasses on and her little business suit. She was a teacher of teachers. And she's got her little pencil skirt and her high heels and bebopping around. And she can't see me. And I said, "Oh my gosh." So she comes over and gives her some orders, or, you know, she's talking to her. And then she walks off and she says, I said, "Can you see her?" And the lady said, "Yeah, but nobody can see you." And I was like, I said, "Am I in dead space?" And she said, "Yeah." And so I was in like where the past people are that are busy, and they couldn't see me.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's
So that
interesting.
was so crazy. So she couldn't even see me because I was in like,
So maybe you
kind of
were
like in the between is how
you
it
were
kind
in her dimension.
of. Yes.
And you know what? That's a theory that I can get down with, you
Yeah.
know, and because that, I mean, I really believe that. And I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of that fits with science, that fits with a lot of things. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of the multi-dimension theory.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's happening, you know? I
I
mean, but
know.
very
And I think too, I just think we're all energy. And so when we leave our body, people are trying to figure out, because some people will say, why doesn't my loved one come around? The thing is, they're there. And what they've actually told me during connections is that they don't know how to use their energy just yet. Like they're still new, trying to figure out how. It'd be like you getting in a car and not knowing what you're doing, and you're trying to drive all over, like you're trying to take a road trip and don't know how to get a car to start, right? And so
exactly.
that's kind of how their energy is. And some people can come in and like blow lights and blow things and move things, and that's okay. That takes a lot of energy. But some people are, have been on the other side for a while and still are trying to figure out how to use their energy.
I think, and also I think it's really personality based too, because
Yes.
my my mother was so much more vocal than my father, and my mother has a tendency to make her presence known more than my father does. But my father was the practical joker. I'll say this. So sometimes I joke about like dumb stuff happens to me, Jen, dumb
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
it's it's like dumb, like if I want to say, hey, this happened but it's really stupid and it's not really scary, but it actually like I tell the story about the shoes. I took my shoes off one day and one of my shoes wasn't sitting upright, it was on its side, and then just out of the blue, I don't know, this totally happened, the shoe boop
Yeah.
flipped and straightened itself up right in front of
Yeah.
my eyes. And first thing I thought, okay, was there a frog in my shoe? Remember that whole
Right.
thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the kid cartoons and stuff. And I'm sitting there looking in the shoe, and I'm like, nope, that was this dad. What's going on?
Yeah.
Just messing with me here, dad.
Yeah.
But little dumb stuff like that will happen.
He's probably like, hey, watch this other shoe drop. Like making a joke. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. So, but it didn't
Yeah.
scare me, it didn't freak me out, but it happened, so dumb stuff like that happens, and it makes me think of him.
Yeah.
But we and here, we do got our chatters, we got some of our regulars
Yeah.
popping here. We got Lisa. Hey Lisa, we love to see you here. We got David Martin as always. Christy, how you doing?
Awesome.
Guys, I tell you what, we have been chatty baddies, me and Jenny, but and so we do got a commercial coming up right here in a minute. But if you guys got some questions for Jen, please ask away. She's wonderful. And yes, David, going from 3D into 4D. Yes. And who knows? I mean, maybe this other dimension, a 4D dimension, there's actually, there's theories behind the 4D thing.
Yeah.
I love the way, when it's easier to break down when you step down to 2D to 3D, how 4D could possibly work, a fourth dimension. But I tell you what, Jenny, let's hop to this commercial break. We're going to shout to our sponsors and our founders, and afterwards we'll be right back with Jenny McKinney. Guys, hang out.
Are you an experiencer of unknown phenomena? Do you consider yourself a paranormal journalist? Do you investigate strange sightings in the sky? Or do you study the expansion of the human mind? You are not alone. Welcome to TESA, a one-stop shop that offers multiple services to experiencers. Place where we can work together. Place for us to learn. Place for us to grow. a place for us to change the world. Join us today.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
It's not the strongest species, nor the most intelligent that survive, but the ones that are most adaptive to change. Join us for Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, live on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't miss live interviews on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, the latest declassified Canadian UFO documents, or an inside look at groundbreaking investigations. Subscribe on YouTube today for free.
If you want to really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, May.
Wow.
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused
If you
it.
want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
All right, guys. If you're just now tuning in, we have been talking with comedian, podcaster, and medium, Jenny McKinney. I tell you, yeah. Well, I tell you what. Let's do this because like I said, whenever me and you met, I met you as the comedian.
Yeah.
And I was a guest on the podcast. But the medium thing. When did you discover this? That this was something that was you?
So yeah, super interesting. So I took some classes, just some different classes, beginner classes with Cindy TESA, who is a paranormal investigator. She's a medium on TV. She's been on Travel Channel, on different shows, like the Holzer Files and things like that. And she was offering classes during COVID, and they were just beginner classes, and I took that. Found out, I was like, this is crazy, right? Like, this is just a coincidence that these things are happening. You know, they were like psychic classes, like tap into this, figure this out. So in one of the classes, I figured out I could remote view into somebody's house that they allowed me to come into. The lady's house was haunted. She asked for what was going on in her house. I described the house, everything happening, what they felt, what I felt, and that was interesting. So I took more of Cindy's classes, and she offered an intermediate class. And I just thought, well, the beginner was easy, so I'm just going to hop into intermediate, not knowing anything about anything, right? And so then the class that she offered was intermediate mediumship. And the first class, there's 25 people in there. She says, how many people here have done a gallery reading? Well, I haven't even done a reading, let alone a gallery reading. So a gallery reading is where you're in front of a group of people, kind of like what we would do with comedy, right? But instead of being the stand-up, we're up there reading, you know, connecting with spirits for the audience, right? And so I'm one of 25, and 24 of them raise their hand. They've done gallery readings. And she's like, oh, okay, Jenny, I see you didn't raise your hand, so I'm going to challenge you in this class. Well, I didn't want to let her down, right? Because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to look silly, you know, in front of everybody, but I also don't know what I'm doing. And so I waited. She said, okay, so what we're going to do is the first assignment is you have to do a gallery reading tonight in front of everybody. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should have wore a diaper. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't write a set. Are you serious?
I know. I was like, oh no. So I thought, okay. And I literally just let everything go. And I said, however this is going to happen is how it's going to happen. And I waited about the 9th person because I didn't want to be the last, but I didn't want to, you know, get in silly and volunteer first. So
you didn't want to close this.
I know. So she says, so the 10th person, I said, hey, I'll go. And I literally I kept because she was big on like keeping your eyes open, like when you're reading, but I had to just close them for a second to disconnect. So I didn't see 25 people looking at me. And I literally just look off to the side, right? And this Polaroid picture pops up in my view, like so when we say your third eye, right? Like your third eye is in between your eyebrows. And like this just shows up in my viewing area. And it looks like a Polaroid picture. It's over to the left. There's 2 kids in the picture, Jeff and Jason. They start talking to me from the picture. And they tell me that they're 17 and 18. They're best friends. One got killed hit by a car on their bicycle. They were riding bikes. And then the one girl in the class raised her hand and said, that's my cousin and his best friend. And then I kept going on, and I couldn't believe what I was saying, and I couldn't believe what I was saying. And Cindy said, wow, that's amazing. Like for you to get names like right off the get, like names are very hard. And so that's amazing. And she's like, how long have you been reading? And I said, 2.5 minutes. I was serious. Yeah. So it just happened that I just trusted and put it out there, and it happened. Thank goodness. So yeah. And then
how long ago was this? How long ago was this, Jen?
So that was about 4 years ago, after COVID, after her COVID classes, and then I got sassy and signed up for the intermediate one.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh. I tell you what, I want to look over in the chat. We've got a Safe Kicker Media Group. We know who that is. That's our good friend Beth Tompkins. Big shout out to Beth. Thank you for popping in here, Beth.
Hey, girl.
Awesome. I hope you are feeling better too. So thank you for catching the show, Beth. We'll have to get Beth on sometime.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So I bet after that it must have been kind of like a comedy bug or something. You know, you're like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, it was very interesting because I was already committed to this. I think it was like a 10-week intermediate class, and so it just kept. I didn't even have time to just figure out how to connect and like what to happen. It's almost like Spirit was getting me ready this whole entire time up to this point, and I just never let go. You know how you're talking about like holding on and of losing control, right?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
actually why I
yeah.
don't even drink alcohol, because I'm scared to lose, you know, my wits in about me.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I don't drink anymore just because I'm too old. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm nervous. Like, I want to be in control of my person. So, it's crazy because there's mediums that have worked for years and years that they've had to work on like their boundaries with spirit and things like that. And I was lucky. I consider myself very lucky. I didn't have to do that because I automatically had strict boundaries. Like, don't do this, don't talk to me all the time, only do it when I am doing it, you know what I mean?
oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, don't be talking in my ear at night, don't do any of that. So I put that out there still every night. I say, just leave us alone, the family and the dogs, and unless there's an emergency. And they did wake us up 2 months ago to tell us. They opened up our bedroom door, and I go out in the kitchen, and the kitchen is flooded. The dishwasher had flooded the kitchen. 1 a.m.
Wow.
Never are we sleep with our bedroom door closed every single night. And something kept saying, like, come out here, come out here. I kept hearing someone say that to me. And I was like, really, what is happening? And I go out there and there's water all over. It was flooded.
Oh my gosh. See, that's I mean, so after this though, Jen, so you've started, well, what are you doing now? So if someone wanted to reach out to you
Yeah.
and, get a reading, what is the process?
Yeah,
What's the
so
process?
I have a website, jenny-mckinney.com. You can, so I
And I'll
offer,
give you another chance to plug that too before we get out of here, but for the show. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks. It's you can check out my website. I offer other things. I have a ton of classes that I offer. Summer's a little bit busier, so they've just fallen off the schedule because we just completed a bunch of things. But I teach energy classes, mediumship. You can go to the website and it's all available on there.
Now,
And
do you do these things remotely? Is this something that can be done remotely?
yes, 100%. So, actually, all my sessions are either online or remote. So with energy sessions, we don't even have to talk. A lot of times I'll just do the energy session like a healing. It's anywhere from like 30 to 60 minutes. And then I have about 4 pages of notes, and then I send those to you. And I also make a video explaining more about the notes so that you have something written and a video.
That is super cool. So do you have, like, I don't know, maybe a story maybe you could share, another one maybe? Now, I don't want to go personal on somebody's reading, but
yeah.
Or anything.
So let me tell you real quick what has happened. So you know how like we like to do scary things, right? Like scary in the sense of like, who goes up on stage and just tells jokes, and that's so scary, right? So I've been working with a mentor in the UK. Her name's Kaz Dukes. She's actually coming here at the end of June. She's doing a class here with us. So if you're interested, that's on the website. Please join us. It's going to be amazing. So she teaches mediumship, and she teaches trance mediumship, which is channeling, which is so scary to me, right? We only have like exorcism references and, things that come in and take your body over, and like, I kept thinking, like, what if something takes me over and it can't get out, right? So
I don't know if they could do that with you, Jen, but go ahead.
I know. I'm like, what if it's like Rainbow Bright or like Chewbacca or something? You know what I mean? And so, so we had worked and kept working, and you have to like leave out of your space to like make space so that a spirit can come in, and they have to talk through you, which takes a lot of energy from them. And plus I have to be out of the way. So leaving my body's that's the easy part, but giving up that space was a little bit harder. So 2 weeks ago I was able to do it. And there was a gentleman that came in, and she asked him, what does love mean? And he explained that love is an experience, and it's like a blanket, and it wraps you up. And some people put it on the floor because they think they don't need it and they're not worthy. And like this whole like phenomenal description of love. And then she had asked him, what did you see when you left here? And he said the light, but he was also showing me what he saw. So when he left, I could see him, like, he was going towards the light, and then she said, who was the first person that welcomed you? And he said, my dad, and I could see his dad there. And he said, it's like being born again. And that really, really touched me. I mean, I cried for 2 hours after this whole session because it was so beautiful to see somebody's transition. You know, it was so amazing. But when you think about it, like, you're just being born into the next thing, right? Because you're like in the darkness, but you're going to the light, and that's kind of like the birth canal. You know what I mean? Like, and then when you come out, your parents' head is there. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of makes sense. So that was super scary, amazing. I'm so grateful that I did it, and that, you know, he showed me that. But I cried also because I could feel the love between him and his dad, and how excited his father was to feel him come back, like, for them to be together again, you know. So that was just very special.
See, that's got to be a great feeling. And, you know, I'm sure that's an, you know, an addiction feeling that you get from, you know, those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Now, as far as, like you did mention, like how a lot of, they have to set boundaries. Have you had any negativity come? Anybody thing that you're like?
No, I mean, I put all, like, love and light out there, right? Like, I guess the only thing I've ever had that's where I'm like, okay, everybody hang on, is during one mediumship reading, you know, because I always tell spirit, like, hey, just, you know, whoever is going to come in. Well, it was also during my learning process, and it's like there was like a hoedown for this whole family that came in, like they were all like at a Western hoedown. I could see them all in this barn, and they were all coming up at me, trying to talk to me at the same time for this person. And I was like, whoa. So I just tell the spirits, like, hey, this is like a one at a time kind of thing, you know? And so they literally, like, split apart, you know, when you make like a dance line, they all split apart, and then they just started coming up like one at a time. I mean, we would have been there. I'd still be there talking to that person and their family, but I can only talk to so many, you know, at a time. So,
oh gosh, I can imagine how overwhelming that must have.
Yeah, but it was also a test for me to put that up on, like, oh, okay, so this is just a oneer and a twoer and a threer. You know what I mean? Like, we can't have the whole party coming in to grab the mic, you know?
Take it easy, Miss Popular.
You know? But my favorite thing is really, like, when the person comes in and their personality is coming in, like, they'll jump in here and then they'll be like, I can't believe I'm here. And I did want to share this. I think there's a lot of people, because you had mentioned, like, being an atheist. There's been quite a few spirits that have come to me and shared, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I get to be here, is what they keep telling me for that person, you know, because, and that's how I know that they were probably not religious or didn't believe, and they can't believe that they are there and get to do and see what they're seeing and feeling over there.
And see, I that makes me feel good too, because, you know, that's the and let me also clarify, guys, I don't believe in this stuff for feel good medicine. It's just the bonus that comes along with it when you do open your mind.
Yeah.
But the people who, because I think atheism is, I mean, we're all open to our own opinions, and no one, you know, we're trying to figure things out. And like I said, we're lifelong questioners, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sorry, but to me, there's no sense at all of just dying and going in the dirt and nothing happening, nothing going on after existence. Yeah. And here's a point that I always like to push and have people just think about is, you know, if you look at it, like a lot of atheists do stay, you know, they stay 100% in this reality and abide by this reality's rules completely. And if you look on the evolutionary chart, this gets a little geeky, but when you look on the evolutionary chart, you know, we have hands to grab things. We have eyes because light exists. We have ears because sound waves exist. We have these tools to measure our environments around us because things exist. Well, we have the capability to question our own existence because something else exists.
Yeah.
And if it did not, we would not have that tool. So, that's a conversation that I have with a lot of atheists. But I think it's great that people who have passed and they're like, hey man, I didn't believe in this place, and wherever I am, I'm here. This is super cool.
Yeah.
But that's really cool, Jenny. I'm glad you started doing this, and this is what now. And you said this is on your website, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And what was the name of the website again?
Yeah, jenny-mckinney.com. You can also go to somuchenergy.com and it'll take you right to the same website.
Okay, well, I love So Much Energy. Well, let's do this real quick before we get out of here, because for you guys that don't know, I highly recommend checking out Jenny's podcast, So Much Energy. It's a very fun listen.
Yeah.
So tell us about that real quick. Let the listeners and viewers know about that real quick.
Yeah, So Much Energy podcast is a podcast that my brother Jeff Jones, he's my real brother, and I do. I call it metaphysical comedy because we do we're trying to demystify the woo-woo out of the things, right? Like, how can you use everyday things to enhance your abilities? Some people don't like certain words, so we stay away from that, or we explain more about it. But just like the podcast here, we talk about different things and make you go right. And that's been a good time. We're 5 years in now, so, and you can listen to that on all the players, and it's also on the website. And then we have that Duke's class coming up at the end of June. She's actually doing a 2-day mediumship class here in Kingsport, Tennessee. She's coming over from the UK. She'll be here for 2 full days.
Nice.
That's also on the website. And then each month I offer it's energy healing / prayer circle. So whatever you believe, you can come. And if you need energy, because I really have so much energy, literally, where
good energy.
So I have so much that I want to share that, and it's healing. And so whatever you need, you can come and fill up your cup, or if you want to come and you have extra energy to support. And we also do earth healing. So we do a 20-minute personal session, 8-minute energy healing for the earth and everybody on earth and the universe and wherever you want to send it. And then we do a 2-minute laughing meditation.
Oh my God, I bet that's awesome.
Yeah. You don't think 2 minutes is a long time, but everyone's like, oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt. That's what everybody says. So really, when I say, hey, you leave with your cheeks hurting at the end of that energy healing.
Oh, I could imagine if you guys hang out with Jenny long enough, your cheeks are going to hurt.
Yeah.
So she's going to have you laughing. There's a lot of energy. I can only imagine. But I think that's an awesome thing that you're doing. And first of all, super kudos. 5 years for a podcast.
Yeah.
That is really saying something.
Yeah, it's a good time. And the thing is too, just sharing love and laughter. You know what I mean? I know that's how you feel too, is just
Absolutely.
The world is so serious and there's so much happening. And if we can just take that 5, 10, 30 minutes from those people's lives and share laughter that connects everybody immediately, no matter what any of your titles are, then we connect immediately just from laughing together,
And that 100%, and that's something that I remind myself of that too. I mean, and it's the reason why we do it. I mean, this, there's more out there than that boring little world that you're wrapped up in. There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
Well, Jenny, this has been a blast, and it's gone by too fast.
Super fast. Yeah.
We definitely we need to talk more because it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I know we've both been busy, but I would definitely love to have you back on the show to talk more.
I love that. Yeah.
And I can't think of a more, probably, guys, I'm telling you, if you'd like a reading to do some type of this is the one you need to check. We need to check with Jenny because it will definitely be a fun experience. And not only will you probably get some good information from the other side, but I'm definitely guarantee you'll get some good laughs.
Yeah, 100%.
And let me ask you, when does the new episode come out for So Much Energy?
Well, it was supposed to be out today, but we know how that goes, so it'll be out this week. But it's out weekly. I try to put it out on like Taco Tuesday, like TALKO Taco. That's what I call it.
Always thinking there. Always clever with your stuff. Genergy.
Yeah. So yeah, but there's an episode every week, and there's and also they're on the YouTube channel too if you want to see the videos.
Definitely, we'll check it out. Well,
yeah.
Jen, I tell you what, I will. Like I said, I'll have to reach out to you, and we'll talk some more, and we'll get you back on the show. But awesome. Jenny, thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. You are amazing as always, and you have brought great energy and aura to this show. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Can't wait to meet you.
All right, guys. Like I said, Jenny McKinney, definitely check out So Much Energy podcast. That's a great podcast to listen to. It's funny, it's fun, it's high energy, it's not boring. Definitely something you don't want to listen to while you fall asleep because you won't fall asleep. So it's a great podcast to check out, and definitely check more out with her readings. It's something I think it would be a fantastic experience, and something that if you're interested to and open your mind up to, I say 100% go for it. If you guys have not done so yet, head over to the Patreon page, show us some love and heed the world, make a little donation. That'll get you access to some Ryan Stacy articles at theexperiencersupport.org. If you feel like you need something investigated, something checked out, if you've had a paranormal experience, reach out to Ryan Stacy at theexperiencersupport.org, and he can take care of that. He is very good at what he does. He's a private investigator and a paranormal private investigator, and he's been doing it a long time. And like I said, he's fantastic at it. So you can reach him at theexperiencersupport.org. If you guys have not done so, head over to my page on Instagram at Super Magic Boy and show me some love. Give me a follow. I'll post shows where I'm going to be, where I'm traveling at, and also on Facebook at Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy, and on TikTok. If you're still on TikTok doing the TikTok thing, I am. I post videos on there. I'll talk about some absurd things, weird news. So give me a follow at Danny Whitson Magic Comedy on TikTok. Like always, folks, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And let's see, I believe that covers. We will be back next Tuesday, streaming live on YouTube. Guys, get your questions ready. Pop in the group. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Beth, David, Christy. Thank you guys for popping in, checking out the show tonight. We will be back next Tuesday with a brand new show and a new guest, and we'll be talking about the paranormal. So I will see you guys next Tuesday, Paranormal Junkies. All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.